CNN. The barrage started right off the bat Tuesday morning. At 6:13 a.m. ET, a punch at the NFL. After 5 minutes, Democrats are in the barrel. They couldn't care less about well-being for USA. There took after a promise to utilize the energy of the pen to give extraordinary health care to many individuals, fast. But first, it's 6:42 a.m. Presently, it's on to Jemele Hill, the ESPN columnist. With Hill at the mic, President Donald Trump tweets, "It is no big surprise ESPN evaluations have failed. Break for an hour and a half." At that point plug a book about himself. At that point back to Liddle Bob Corker, who was made to sound a trick by the New York Times. That is the thing that I am managing. As we approach the principal commemoration of his decision, Trump, disappointed by a slowed-down political plan, has squeezed up his talk, forcing himself, his perspectives, his voice, those tweets, into practically every part of American life at a frightening velocity. For less effective gatherings, the level of disturb made by Trump is less outsider, however considerably more unavoidable, and accompanies less chances to just turn off. Through the span of somewhat more than 48 hours a weekend ago, start at 7:05 a.m. on Saturday, Trump tweeted 21 times. One of his own posts, from 8:04 a.m., was retweeted, by Trump, before the finish of the day. That surge started on a brilliant note. "I at long last got a decent story in the Washington Post," he cooed at a young hour in the morning. In any case, the positive sentiments immediately went bad as Trump disturbed for measure up to time to contend with a basic, unfunny late-night have. Then came word he dialed up Democratic Minority Leader Chuck Schumer to examine Obamacare. At that point another shot at the media. At that point a shout out to FEMA. At that point, at 3:31 p.m., a lift for his meeting that night with Mike Huckabee. Trump started again at 3:40 p.m. Presidents and their organizations have been conversing with North Korea for a long time, ascensions made and monstrous measures of cash paid, he tweeted. 5 minutes passed, hasn't worked, ascensions disregarded before the ink was dry, making idiots of U.S. moderators. Apologies, however, just a single thing will work. What thing? At that point a retweet of a supporter foreseeing an avalanche race in 2020. At that point word he was taken off to North Carolina, huge advance being made on many fronts. On Sunday morning, he commenced his crusade against Corker, the intermediary Republican. Trump tweeted about Corker 4 times more than 7 hours. He additionally commended Vice President Mike Pence for, as Trump let it know, following requests from the White House to leave the NFL diversion he was going to in Indianapolis if any of the players bowed amid the national song of devotion. Obviously, they did. Pence left, as arranged. After a day, Trump's re-decision crusade was looking to exploit the free-for-all encompassing Pence's takeoff by requesting gifts by means of email under a title perusing, VP under flame for remaining for, U.S. signal. As the end of the week slowed down, and his fight with Corker amped up, Trump tweeted an about 9-moment video inventorying the reaction to sea tempest harm in Puerto Rico. He just shows up, quickly, toward the end, yet lingers over it all. The at the same time cocky and self-indulging content, "No one could have done what I've improved the situation # Puerto Rico with so little appreciation. So much work." And after that it was Monday. On Twitter, the burdens arrive abruptly, at odd or off hours, or all of a sudden, on any given day, infrequently with no evident concern, little worry for different occasions, different circumstances, with a computed intrigue. In many cases, it's difficult to tell. At the point when Trump exculpated Sheriff Joe Arpaio, he did it as a sea tempest was making landfall in Texas. Is it accurate to say that it was a head counterfeit, a pessimistic endeavor to confine the political kickback? Maybe. Or, on the other hand, not. Trump later said he declared it then since he figured Americans would be stuck to their TVs following the tempest, guaranteeing a bigger gathering of people. All things considered, amidst the sea tempest, despite the fact that it was a Friday evening, I accepted the appraisals would be far higher than they were typically, he told journalists days after the fact. 2 tempests, 3, 4, One scream. About a month prior to the tropical storm started, on July 26, as Americans dozed, drove or started their 9-to-5, Trump tweeted out word he would boycott transgender people from serving in the U.S. military, in any way. The tone of his declaration had a bizarre, uncanny triviality, similar to a bad habit central tending to understudies over an open address framework. There was the careless thank you affixed to the finish of his last tweet. As the stun-offered approach to questions, it turned out to be clear Trump had no arrangement for executing this strategy, which was still under a military audit process. The White House, when asked later on, had no data for dynamic transgender troops, of which there are, as per a 2016 Rand Corporation contemplate appointed by the Defense Department, somewhere close to 1,320 and 6,630. From every angle, Trump was attempting to restore some help to his companions in the House Freedom Caucus. And afterward, similarly as fast, it was on to the following one. And after that another. This present morning's story. Tonight's. The overnight and tomorrow. The most recent tweet. Or, on the other hand, red wheat. The responses. Explanations to take after. There's a tweet for everything, you know. The chides sign on. It's a diversion. From what? The genuine story. What's that? Take your pick. Hold up, his Secretary of State said what? String. Last Thursday at the White House, Trump met journalists in a lounge area where he was posturing with military pioneers and their mates. He asked, "You folks recognize what this speaks to?" "No." "What?" "Possibly it's the fleeting tranquility before all hell breaks loose," he said. "What storm?" No answer. "What storm?" "Trump, you'll discover."